interested in Liberty. I'm not interested in the Lynx.
Not interested?
No. I think they lost some pieces that actually made a big difference. I don't even know how much I'm interested in the Aces, to be honest.
Wow.
That time clock looked different. The time clock looked different. I said it. I'm standing on it. 10 toes down, 10 fingers down. I said it.
All I want is credit, give me mine. We've been counted out too many times. They was hating, told them get in line. Ain't no breaks until we hit the finish line. I cannot retire from it.
Welcome to Sideline Stories. I can't retire from this podcast, where our common denominator is hoops. We're bringing you interviews, stories, and insight from all around the women's basketball world because, well, we really can't retire from this. Let's get into it. What's going on, good people? It's the Can't Retire fam. It's me, Shmel, Benson, and Jazz, as per usual. Y'all, it's almost WNBA season. And it wouldn't be a basketball pod, a women's basketball pod, if we didn't talk about and preview the 2025 season, right? So we just had the WNBA draft. The Paige Bueckers and the Kiki area fans have their homes now. Let's talk about what teams we're keeping our eyes on. To remind folks, the New York Liberty won their franchise's first ever WNBA championship in 2024 over the Minnesota Lynx. Yes, snaps for the Liberty. We love that for them. But a lot of teams made it interesting down the stretch, especially in the regular season. You had the Indiana Fever, you had the Mystics, who started off the season 0-12, turned that thing around, almost made the play. You just had a lot of different contenders in there. So now that we're heading into 2025, teams have retooled, reloaded. What teams are y'all keeping your eyes on? Let's start with you, Jazz.
There's a couple for a couple different reasons. Obviously, I think everybody will say that they are keeping their eyes on Indiana. It is hard not to. And they are, I will say, beyond just the players and the coaches, but the entire program is coming, right? Like, you seen their shirt like every game's a home game. I say, oh, y'all is aggressive today.
Bold.
So it'll be fun to see what they're able to do and to see underdogs challenge them and see how they handle that challenge, right? They tooled up pretty well in the offseason, as we talked about before. But another program, and I've said this before too, that I'm actually interested in seeing where it goes is the Sparks. I'm very interested in just seeing how they bounce back. I'm interested to see how Kelsey Plum handles the situation and responsibility that's been put on her shoulders. Yeah. As she has said, she was brought there for a reason. So to see how she steps up into that role will be really interesting to me. So there's some others too, but I'm going to leave that to the rest of the crew to talk about. But those are my first two.
All right, Benson, what you got?
I agree. You've got to keep your eye on Indiana. And I think with Paige being with the Wings, you got to keep an eye on them. But the one that's intriguing to me, that I think they might have put together some pieces that could fit, is the Dream. The Dream is very interesting because you've got not as much youth. Like, they're older, but they're not that old to not be able to do what they do. I mean, right. Still got a lot of juice in those legs. You know what I'm saying? I think that's very interesting. And then there's another team that I did not think I would. I don't know. My opinion has changed, but the Storm. Like, when on paper, they don't look as solid, but there's some notable players on that roster and what they added. I mean, I want to see, I know we got Paige, but Dominique Malonga. Listen, if she is as advertised as I think she has advertised, we might have some problems up there, Jazz, with you. I'm just letting you know right now.
Up there in the Pacific Northwest.
Your t-shirt, because this could be a show. We might need to popcorn for that. Those are my not as obvious ones, but I'm just eager to see if they can put it together, they can gel together. I'm not interested in Liberty. I'm not interested in the Lynx.
Interested?
No. I think they lost some pieces that actually made a big difference. I don't even know how much I'm interested in the Aces, to be honest.
Wow.
That time clock looked different. The time clock looked different. I said it. I'm standing on it. 10 toes down, 10 fingers down. I said it. Yeah, there we go.
Toes and fingers.
And I'm throwing it back to you. Here we go.
Okay, that is interesting. That is intriguing. Not interested in the defending champions and the runner-ups.
Nope.
I don't know if I can follow you there, Benson, but Melody, who you got your eyes on?
Benson took mine too, though. Like, I'm excited for the Skylar Diggins divorce tour. The Skylar Diggins divorce tour.
Has that been confirmed yet?
Yes.
We know she dropped the Smith, right?
Now, TMZ broke the news.
Okay.
The Skylar Diggins divorce tour is about to go crazy. You know she be locked in. And now she's up and running. Unrivaled got her so pumped.
I was about to say Unrivaled,
she's going for killers. Like, she's going to dominate whatever whenever she's on the court. Especially whatever that man did. We don't know. Good luck.
It's immediately your fault. Immediately.
Good luck to
Yeah. Shout out to all the hyphenated people.
Hey, yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's scary hours, because folks who tuned into Unrivaled, especially during the one-on-one tournament, right? The way she was just laser focused, as soon as they were trying to check the ball, all up in your grill, all up in your chest, and you're like,
that's scary.
Yeah. With extra motivation, please.
Yes.
Please. So that's,
this was brewing when that was going on. People just be like,
right?
You know what? I'm gonna wake up and get divorced. Like, nobody says that. So
No.
I mean, nobody I've ever heard.
No.
Y'all make some interesting points. I'm just sad. We've established this isn't necessarily a DMV podcast, right? Can't Retire From This. The documentary is all about DMV hoops. But I can't not mention the Mystics. Are we for real? The draft picks that they got? Of course, we now know Georgia Amore out of Kentucky, the Australian, is now out with an ACL. That is so unfortunate. I was so sad to hear about that.
Especially in practice.
Yeah.
Sad for her.
That's just the hard way to go in your rookie year training camp. But then also we got Aaliyah Edwards, who showed out, another player in Unrivaled, who put everything on the line, showed all of her bag, almost won, but Queen Fee, Nafisa Collier, took that trophy in the one-on-one tournament. Aaliyah Edwards now has a back contusion, if I'm not mistaken. So she's going to be out until right around the season starts, right around when the season starts. So it looks a little bit shaky, but I think altogether the Mystics got some pieces that are going to work for them. Kiki Iriafen, you got her, Shakira
Kiki
Austin.
balled out.
Sonia Citron is such a sleeper.
I'm like,
is she a sleeper though? I feel like people know about Citron now.
They should know.
They don't talk about her enough.
They don't, but they don't talk about nobody in the league enough. Let's be real.
We need more journalists covering the game. Period.
Citron come through, have a good rookie year.
Yeah. So it feels like the Mystics.
To you.
It feels like the Mystics picked up some really good pieces as well. So I'm just gonna throw them into the mix. All right. I'm not saying too much. I'm not making any predictions. Just saying we should mention them.
About the Sky.
Nobody did. Nobody did.
Because you know what the Sky did? Oh, we're gonna have a new practice facility. No, we're not.
Pump fake everybody.
It's just
I got it.
We don't nobody trusting the Sky right now.
No. Not at all. And them in the Dream, every training camp clip that I've seen, it makes me a little bit mad, because I'm looking at everything in the background, like, and it could still be so much better. Like, there's still so much room for growth. And those I don't believe are the only two teams without a practice facility, without all the amenities and things. But yeah, it definitely makes a huge difference. But moving on, they do. Moving on though, we talked teams, we've mentioned some players, but specifically I want to know who y'all are looking forward to watching this season. I know I've got my own list of players that I'm expecting to pop off. But Jazz, let's throw it back to you. What players individually are you keeping an eye on?
It's hard not to say Paige. It's hard not to say Paige Bueckers. She had to overcome a lot in her collegiate career, and let's hope that she doesn't go through half the battle she did in college in her professional career from that standpoint. But I think she also is on, her in March Madness, she was on a whole different mindset. Like she had been riding that pressure of being the one. She really led a lot of the NIL conversations throughout her college career, then got injured. Then there was the status of being part of UConn. You got to win. And now you're going into the league and you've been hyped since you was a high school kid. So it's showing proof time a little bit. I'm excited for her. And I'm also excited for the fan base out in Dallas, because I think it's going to be a good revitalization. And to be honest, for a city like Dallas, a reintroduction to women's basketball in a way that is exciting and fun. So I think Paige can bring a lot of that energy. Similar, obviously, Caitlin Clark's on a whole different, the timing of her career and everything like that was a whole different thing. But I do think that Paige can be that next wind of energy from both sponsor eyes, new audience eyes, and all those things. So it'll be fun to see what she's able to do this rookie year. But
yeah. Her and Arike in the same backcourt.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all saw this on social when she was teasing her about her game-winning shot over UConn.
Yeah, I love it.
Me dying.
I love it,
but
man.
It's good. It's like good energy, and I think Paige has that personality. She takes that.
And Dejanay's down there.
Yep, I was just about to say her and Dejanay seem to be chumming it up as well. Really getting to know each other. And Paige, she said it herself. I was down at the Final Four and we got to sit in on the press conference with her and Gino and everybody. And she's like, I just like to be annoying. And I feel like Dejanay Carrington is also on that same kind of tip. You know what I'm saying? Like competitors who just don't stop talking, stay in your ear, keep, joning, like all that kind of stuff. I feel like it's just it's a harmonious combination down there in Dallas. Benson, the evaluator extraordinaire.
She looks like she's looking at her notes.
Right. Y'all can see she looking at her notes, looking into the sky. She got her thinker face on right now.
Right. I'm trying to see how I'm gonna word this.
Oh shoot! Here you go.
So we should have some backlash with the Aces, correct? We should have some tension with the Aces, some problems with the Aces. Jackie,
should we?
Yeah, we should. We should. With that much firepower, absolutely. That's a lot of firepower that they have had last year. They should have gotten it done. Even if you didn't make it all to the championship, you should have. Come on now. You can't give them that much. That's a lot.
So to clarify, you're saying that they should be mad that they didn't finish the way they wanted to finish last season.
I think they are mad, but
okay.
I'm going to need some players like Jackie Young. I need to see where you are. I need to see your face. And I want to see Chelsea's going to do Chelsea 100%, but you lost Plum. And that was really your dog. Let's be honest. Yeah. So now I want to see what the Aces can do. And the specific two players that Asia going to be Asia. We ain't question nothing she doing. Nothing. She bona fide. Jackie, I got to see your face. Chelsea, I want to see how you're going to lead this team. The other player that I'm intrigued to see, Bonner.
Ooh, Dewana.
I'm going for Bonner today. And it's because she's such she has such advantages in her game, just with her size and her abilities, right? But it's almost like it's just been quieted. So now you're on a team that has so much going on. Are you going to be that veteran to get it done? Or are we waiting on Caitlin? I got to see your face. I got to see what you going to do, Bonner. I don't want your toe hurting. That toe better be good this year. That body better be good this year.
Oh, toe issues are serious, man.
They are very serious.
You ever tried to do stuff when your toe hurts?
We know.
Lower body.
Benson knows.
Benson knows.
One Achilles. Too soon.
You ain't even recovered yet. Yeah.
No, I can't run.
Oh, poor Benson.
Yeah.
Now, Mel low-key looked like she wanted to fight you when you was talking about the Maces, though.
Nah, because Jewel Lloyd's there. I
know you was just like, you did the whole like,
but I'm not gonna get on Jewel today. I already got on.
But you mentioned
I feel like you should.
Yeah, what you
feel like you should.
Is Jewel that dog?
She getting it back. It's hard to be a dog while Skylar's going through a divorce up in Seattle.
Did you just say it's hard to be a dog when Skylar's going through a divorce?
Yeah, in Seattle, that was a difficult situation.
Oh, she don't get no bailout for that. No,
that's Skylar's problem.
Nah, Jewel is soft-hearted. Like,
look, man,
we love Jewel. We love Jewel. Every player we're talking about, we absolutely love. We adore. Yes,
we do.
However, this is a segment about. I need to see your face. I need to see what you're gonna do because now this is talking about taking our game. It's cute now, but now we've got to take it to a whole nother level. And consistency is going to be where the base is.
Yeah.
You can't change.
And I will say, Benson, I think one thing you're calling out in a good way is you do have a lot of egos on the Aces.
That's where I thought you were going initially. Yeah, that's why I asked that clarifying question, because I was wondering if you were thinking maybe because you have so many weapons, so much talent, so much firepower, they would be butting heads and competing against each other, which you should on a team. Iron sharpens iron, but you don't want it to get to a place where it's bad blood. So, but that's not where you were going necessarily?
No,
Or could it be?
I think they enjoy playing together.
Mhm.
I don't think that's it. I think again the wear and tear of winning that many years. So we've just aged that team. Like they're not like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a totally different. It's a veteran team. Like literally when we're talking about how many games they played extra than the teams that don't even make it the first round. You understand what I'm saying? So it's, can they put it together again? Because now what they're going to do is they're going to start have to split them up again. That's what's going to happen. And they're going to have to bring some young blood in there to kind of mix this thing up. Jewel ain't young either. No.
She's no longer a spring chicken. This is true. This is true. She's no longer a spring chicken.
No.
Well, that is definitely a situation to keep tabs on. Mel, is there anyone else to round us out individually that you are looking forward to watching or keeping special eyes on this season?
It's hard to go after the evaluator.
We should have made her go last.
We should have made her go last, per usual.
I jumped in real quick. Let me get my little hopscotch.
Right. Besides, I mean, we talked about Dominique Malonga. Like, I want her to dunk on somebody. I can't
real
wait
bad
to see. Like
on somebody's head.
Yes. And then I want to see her and Brittany Griner go at it, because that would be amazing to watch. The other player, I have loved her entire college run, is Sanaya Rivers. So, I mean, she's going through a hardship right now, but I am excited for what that kind of lightning power will happen in Connecticut, because we don't know what's happening up in Connecticut right now. But having those young, fresh legs up there, and we got our girl Lindsay to pass the ball, like having somebody to cut. And then they got Tina Charles, who is the veteran of the veterans in the league right now. So we'll see how that dynamic. I think they have a good balance of fresh, veteran, kind of overly experienced people in the league right now, that I'm excited to see how Sanaya is able to take in all that knowledge and apply it towards this next level.
Yeah, I think that is an excellent point. Connecticut has received a lot of flack from us and from a lot of people because the roster, there were a lot of question marks around moves that were made in the offseason. But I think, speaking of Sanaya Rivers, and rest in peace to her mom, we're sending our condolences to that family, because can't even imagine what she must be going through right now. So we're sending her so much love. But the opportunity on the court to learn from Lindsay, who's been through the fire on her own, like you mentioned, to learn from a Tina Charles, people who, even in the midst of a situation that might not seem ideal, can have tips and tools for her to become a better pro and potentially, help her elongate her career in the WNBA. I think that's extremely exciting, frankly. But a couple of people that we haven't necessarily mentioned yet, y'all. Anybody have any idea where I'm going with this?
Angel
is an interesting one. No, I wasn't going to say Angel, but Angel is an interesting one. I am intrigued by what we saw in Unrivaled and whether that jump shot will carry on to the WNBA season. Angel is a good one. I've said this name before and I'll say it again. Rakia Jackson. Rakia Jackson. We just talked about the Sparks, right? What, Benson?
She the truth. I agree.
Okay.
We ain't got to question nothing. She gonna
yeah. Because her and Cam Brink being back and being healthy, please, adding pieces to that. As the season went on, obviously Cam was injured. It didn't look cute all the time, but there were flashes in there of a team that could really be disruptive. And I think Rakia Jackson is the key that unlocks all of that, because her playing Unrivaled, I also thought went a little bit underrated, frankly.
Yes.
We talked about who we thought was gonna win the one-on-one tournament, and my pick was because I thought, at 3 levels, she can shoot the ball, she's got a mid-range, she can take you to the rim, she's quick, she can jump, she's strong. You need to have as a pro player. So I've got my eyes on Rakia. I don't know how we can't have eyes on Rakia.
I agree.
And then I'm wondering where Breanna Stewart's head is at. Because
Mm.
again, looking back at Unrivaled, I
Yeah.
love all the players that we talk about, just like Benson said. But I was taken aback at how, like, not lackluster, but I didn't think she hooped the way that I thought she was going to hoop. Fee did everything I thought Fee was going to do, right? Breanna Stewart lost to Aaliyah Edwards in the first round of the one-on-one tournament. She was scoring. She was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big consideration for sure. But from top to tail of the Unrivaled season, she was putting points on the board, but I saw so many times I would tune in, she's missing a layup, or, you know what I mean? She's getting D'd up by an Aaliyah or by a Rakia or somebody like that. It just felt like she wasn't dominating the way I expected her to dominate coming off of a WNBA championship, frankly. And it could be that she was exhausted, Benson, like you said. So, you know, again, something to consider. But I got my eyes on Stewie. I want to see what
What she got to prove now? I mean,
Nothing.
there's always been, so when you mix tired, your body's aching differently because you're not the youngest player in the league. You playing as much as you are, because not to forget, there was like, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's like at this point, you're a gold medal Olympian, you are a WNBA champion, you are an MVP, you have won on all levels, and you got. Look, I'm gonna be real with you because I'm a mom, and you got 2 little babies at home. Girl, she probably tired. She's tired.
That baby tired.
Yeah.
And she probably had to play just to get the season off the ground.
This is
That's
true.
a different position.
And I could totally see her different from Fee approaching that as like, what is my post-career plan? Because she's at that point in her career where she might be thinking about it. I'm not saying she's saying like, oh, I'm out right now, but it ain't. I mean, how many more seasons she really got?
Okay. Whoa. All right. So we think
not in a negative way. I don't mean it in a negative way. I just mean in a sense of like, do you want to have? It's a lot. It's different on women than it is on men. Everybody ain't trying to be LeBron. Okay. So
LeBron ain't even trying to be LeBron right now, dog.
That part.
Don't do
After
that.
losing that series. But anyways, we don't have to talk about that. But you both bring up really good points. Where I'm coming from is Unrivaled was what it was. Now that we're back in the W season, how are you defending your title? How are you coming out the gates? Maybe not out the gates, because sometimes even championship teams start off slow as they get their pieces back together, as they get people back healthy. My question, though, is when it comes time to put your stamp on saying, I'm the best in the league, I'm unstoppable, I'm on the best team in the league, how does she act when we get to that point? That's my only concern.
You think that's what she's trying to do?
That's my point. I don't know that she is. It also, you can't forget she had a different motivation last year because had, I think, if I'm remembering this right, her father-in-law had passed, and there was a different, it's all those things that drive you differently, and it was like maybe that dedication pushed her differently. But again, she's been the pinnacle for a minute. I think it'll be interesting to see how this season goes, and it'll be interesting to see what becomes of how this season goes.
Okay.
Is how I would say that.
That's very interesting. She got into the league in 2016, so she's coming up on a decade in the league. For me, that it is a long time, but for me,
and she tall, her knees probably hurt. My knees hurt.
And she's slightly bow-legged too.
Oh my God.
Well, don't come for bow-legged.
I mean, that's tough.
Everybody catches strays. Wait a minute.
Digital, so you know, you know what I'm just saying. You know, you just gotta put that into perspective when you're running a lot. The cut ain't the same. You know, it is.
Evaluator.
And
she bow-legged.
That's a note that I would put in my notes.
We just talked about what we're looking forward to team-wise, individual player-wise, heading into the season. Let's shift gears here a little bit. We mentioned a bunch of draftees, including Paige Bueckers, who's been really vocal about her immense just love for the game of basketball, right? She's a player, you look at her interviews, you look at the way she moves, she understands and respects the game, its histories, the players that have come before her. But a lot of folks are starting to feel like the younger Hoopers, maybe not this generation of draftees, but coming up on the horizon, the younger generation of Hoopers are missing that foundational, fundamental, frankly, just love and passion for the game of basketball. And with NIL and revenue sharing and all these things going on, could it be because money's now a part of the equation more than ever? Yes, maybe. Who knows? Because they don't basketball, insane, considering how much access they have to it now compared to when I grew up, compared to when Benson, Jazz, y'all grew up. That's insane, but it's possible. Could it be that damn phone? I don't know. Maybe it's TikTok. They got too many different options for ways to spend their time. I will say personally, I coached AAU a couple summers ago, and I felt the feeling of kids not caring enough firsthand. So why to y'all does it feel like the kiddos are losing the plot? They're lacking some love for the game.
Benson going last.
Yes,
she is. She gotta go ahead, Mel.
All right. We are definitely losing recipes. Misha, I sent you a tweet the other day or a thread just talking about this exact subject about losing the love for the game. As I scroll through social media and I see these young hoopers, and the hoopers are getting younger and younger on my Instagram page due to these trainers and different programs that are just trying to monetize and also rank kids. And I'm talking class of 2036, number one in class. I should not be seeing this. Let the boy learn how to tie his shoes. Let the girl watch whatever on Nickelodeon, if that's still a thing. Like,
they still in a car seat.
Yeah, let's let them still be kids. We don't have to do this. And that part really, really gets to me, because when I was that age and when we were all that age, we played basketball because we wanted to, not because we had these other incentives and goalposts and such. Like, it was voluntary that we got to play. We played because we wanted to play. We played at recess. Like, those little moments, I feel like we are losing, and it's only getting worse and worse as we step into the social media age. And then also on top of that, with this NIL and portal situation, I got some intel that there's some JUCO coaches that are trying to represent their players and get a percentage of their NIL money as they step and go to other colleges.
That's just shady.
Scammers.
Yeah.
And so
I hope they get sued.
Coaches coming in and trying to get money from their players, no matter where, and have their players sign contracts for whatever college they go to. Their JUCO coaches will get a piece of that money for whatever NIL deals.
Wow.
Now,
I understand that though.
I do too.
I gotta
only
back
because
that.
Unfortunately,
I gotta backtrack.
There's always been something there. Unfortunately, like, there's always been something. Maybe it wasn't NIL money or players or whatever, but it might have been coaches and feeder programs and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's always been this unspoken little fuzziness about some, not all, about some of the JUCO situations.
Well, the reason why I'm backtracking is that when you initially said it, I didn't even put two and two together until afterwards. Unlike any other college job, the JUCO level, the job of placement of a player is a huge part of it. That is almost like an agent. So Don Staley does not have to place anybody. As a JUCO coach, that is a part of that. That's a big part of that, which takes a lot of time. You're already not getting paid high dollar. In a way, I can see why a JUCO coach would say, hey, wait a minute, I am doing a lot of work. You're going to go on and make $150,000. I didn't develop for 2 years. I placed you. No one else can talk. You're not like, that's interesting.
Okay, Benson. Okay.
It just gets really messy.
It does get messy. And I would say this, like, kind of compliment what you said, man. I was like, unfortunately, a loss of there's a balance here, in my opinion. There's definitely a grander feeling of loss of love loss. However, there's also those who do love it. I feel like there's a depth that maybe wasn't there before because of all the things you talked about, Mish, with the access and the visibility. Like, I remember I just watched something on social, and it was like Flage, Hidalgo, and Kiki, I want to say. They were all, what's your dream starting five? And to see them say so many female players, when I was growing up, ain't nobody listing that many female players. That it'd be being 100. Like, And so it was cool to see that, because I was like, yes, they are in it. They're some of the top dogs in college basketball, all these other things. But at the same time, like, to see them fangirl about other female players in that way, I think is something that has not always been the case. So there's the love lost, but I really do feel like that is such a byproduct of where we are. I mean, y'all, my son is 4. He just started flag football. My husband's coaching. During his first game, mind you, they ain't even got practices yet. Okay, they practice 30 minutes before the game. My son don't know what he's doing. He's over here hopping and picking dandelions. Okay, this other parents, my husband overhears the other parents being like, "Oh yeah, we've been training our son for this, for 5-year-old flag football. Like, what are we doing?" Like, it is so much, and unfortunately, so many parents. I talk about this a lot. I've been fortunate enough to not only have played at a high level, but also coach at a high level. So many parents actually have no clue what that world is. And so they think that success now means something when really it don't. Ain't nobody gonna remember how this game turned out in a week. Regardless, it's like the funnel it is to get to that elite level. Honestly, for the women and for girls, there's so many hurdles that we go through. I just saw I can't remember which school it is, but some school in England is actually going to do a study about ACL tears and how it correlates with your menstrual cycle, because there may be some correlation there. But it's just like, there are so many hurdles for girls. They say that a lot of girls drop out of sports because they don't know how to fit themselves for a sports bra. And instead of feeling embarrassed all the time, they just say, you know what, I'm just out. And so it's like, there's so many, and now we're throwing in these other factors of there's money, and this coach wants the money, and we're going to put this name on it, but you're not good enough, so I'm going to actually put you way down here. You're going to be on the bench, but your parents can afford to pay for the team, so you're actually going to scholarship the kid I really want on the team, so that then I can go play over here. You ain't going to play, even though you're paying. I'm going to put this one because it's going to make me look like a better coach, which keeps the train moving. There's so many factors. I'm gonna get off my soapbox because youth sports is a touchy subject for me. But unfortunately, I don't think it would be fair, and not that we are, but I don't even think it would be fair to put that love loss on the players themselves. I think the circumstances in which they are coming through and learning about the game is a large part of why we don't feel that the depth of love is there.
Drop the mic, Jazz. All right, now, Benson, your thoughts on why the kiddos could be losing some of that passion?
Well, I got to start off with a list of people that we should blame as to why love is gone. I'm going to blame Misha. I'm going to blame Jazz. I'm going to blame Mel.
I'm sorry.
Clark. Angel Reed. I'm blaming everybody.
Can we blame you too?
Everybody.
Can we blame Benson?
I don't want to hear. We all a part of the problem, because supply and demand is real. We sat up there and complained that we weren't making enough money. Well, how do you judge making money? These kids got to get better, and they got to perform, and they got to produce. You know what happens to that? It creates pressure. So now it's no longer a game anymore, y'all. It's a career. Thank you, women's basketball community. We all a part of it. So you might as well point the finger at yourselves. I ain't a part of it. Point your finger.
First of all,
Jazz is saying timeout. I got a timeout.
You're the most
here
part
too.
of it of all of us.
You evaluator.
This evaluator. You the one
I ain't
telling them
getting
they only
jumped on the
rank
podcast. That's what I'm not about to do. I'm not getting jumped on the podcast. So we need to start with that.
For all three of us.
Everybody. Everybody. I'm going for everybody.
It's your fault, Miss McDonald.
Yeah.
He's out here spraying.
McDonald now.
So everybody need to be blamed. We need to fix the sports brawl issue, because I didn't even know that was a situation while we losing people to women's basketball because they can't fit sports bras. Who would have thought that? Anyways, listen, with that supply and demand, and we're talking about money, and we're talking about creating product, this is the same process that the men's side has went through. This is normal for them. It is, y'all. Like, they start at 2 years old, 3 years old.
And you see the product.
5 years old. But they're making it. They're making that money. Now we at a place.
Some of them.
Well, that
There's
is
a lot more not making money than there are making money.
I think we still don't always have that percentage, but I think we're gonna have to put some protective structures in place. Because it's women's basketball, we are kind of created very differently. But the pressures to perform and produce are not going anywhere. That is what means the money. That is what moves this game right now. And they are careers in middle school. I know middle school players right now that are getting NIL money that has completely changed their family's life. That ain't going nowhere.
Yes, but I'm gonna pause you for a couple reasons. One, I do want to say, yes, there's middle schoolers making money. There's also middle schoolers who act that make money. So it's like those are going to be the anomalies at all points. There's always going to be anomalies. However, I will say this: the love of the game doesn't start getting developed. Take the middle schools that making money to change it. That's a whole y'all different level. Okay, different level. 99% of our athletes are not going to be making money until, if they make any, until after high school. The problem to me is you don't learn the love of the game at the high school level. We learn the love of the game younger. So what is it about that's why I went youth sports. And the problem with youth sports, because yes, you can lose some of it, right, when the money comes in. But I do feel like that love is established at a much younger age.
But I think they have the love of it at that age. I think it's the maintenance of it. It's the sustainability of it. Like, I know middle schoolers right now, 8th grade, that's just like, and they, you could just see that fire in them. But then after 2 seasons on a circuit.
And that's where I'm going to cut in here, because from personal experience, I can tell you my, not opinion and baseline love of the game, but the motivation behind everything I did changed when I went from playing for a grassroots program to playing for a Nike EYBL circuit program. And I think the
subtle flex.
Okay. It did what it needed to do. We gonna leave that right there. Did what it needed to do. But the crux of that to me was the people who were leading me. The people who are leading these kids, the coaches that are leading these kids, the trainers that are leading these kids. I'm not going to point the whole finger at them, but I think that to me is one of the biggest factors in why kids are losing their love for the game. I was fortunate to have, starting off, coaches who I didn't necessarily vibe with, coaches who weren't necessarily in it for all the right reasons all the time. But I came across people like Chrissy Kelly, who I'm now coaching with at Osborne Park High School here in Manassas, Virginia, who is the reason Monica Wright became the prospect that she did, went to UVA, did what she did, went to the WNBA, won a championship with the Minnesota Lynx, and now is the GM of the Toronto Tempo. Not the sole reason, but was a huge influence on her. People like that, those are the people we need leading our kids in youth sports, leading our kids when they get to middle school, to high school, because those are the ones who they've established their own love for the game. They were doing it back when we didn't have no type of TV, no type of people. You want to talk about nobody in the bleachers? How about you don't even have bleachers type stuff? You know what I'm saying? Not to throw anybody's age out there, but those are the folks that, our generations were lucky enough to learn from for the most part. I'm wondering where those leaders are now in the youth sports space. And those people, I need y'all to step up, because it's also way too many people, and I'm not going to name any names here, but I've come across folks who coach AAU basketball who are in it for the brand name, who are in it for the extra gear and the clout they get to post the trip to the tournament on their Instagram, right? And that's not what we're here for. People who are coaching and people who are running organizations in youth sports, that cannot be the motivation behind it. It has to be these kids. It has to be getting them to understand and love the game. And so, yeah, that's where I'm pointing the finger. What's wrong, Benson? Benson looks exasperated.
Because I wouldn't expect you to talk about not having no bleachers. Yeah, you ain't being seen if ain't nobody got nowhere to sit.
Okay. We didn't even have TVs yet. No, let me stop.
But, I don't know how they're supposed to do that. I don't know how they're supposed to do that. The job
I don't either.
Different. Like,
that's what I was going to say too.
There's a lot of steps. Like, these coaches and directors have to be agents now. Like, they have to be. Like, that's rough.
Well, and I think, that's similar to being like, we can't go in on teachers who don't get paid.
Yeah.
When because that coach, a lot of them, it's like, okay, so what was your life off the court? Yeah. Did you have another job? If you had another job, how successful was that other job? How much money was you making? What kind of home? People can't even buy homes nowadays. We can't live. So like, as a society, we're in such a, and this is just honestly, and unfortunately, it is a byproduct of a much worse case in society as a whole, right? Because you take away disposable income, you lose that leadership, because I can't just do it because I love it.
Yep. You lose that effort.
I can't just do it because I love it, because I don't have the time, energy, or money. If I don't have that, how am I going to? I love coaching. Like I will tell you, I was fortunate enough. I coached this young team out here from 7th grade, coached them in 8th grade, and coached their fall ball all throughout their whole high school career. They are now about to be juniors in college. The thing about it was I could do that at the time when I was 26, 27 years old, no kids, not married, didn't rent an apartment, that kind of thing. I'm married with 2 kids now. I can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Symptom of a bigger issue, man. Symptom of a much bigger issue.
Tough. I don't disagree with you. I'm just, the solution is complicated.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I think, we talked about it. Money is at the root of a lot of this. You throw money in the equation and, disparities get larger, hills get taller. It's
honestly, can I just say this? And it's sad. And this is to give him some props and rest in peace, Kobe. But I'm like, it's what was so amazing about the program he was trying to build. Because it wasn't about that. Yes, he wanted to win. Yes, they were elite. Yes, blah, 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 blah. But he also was the first one to say they should be practicing more than they're playing. He was, you know what I mean? Like he was changing
he warned people.
He was changing perspective. But he had the money to do it. I paid the coach. So I'll say that we need those who have the funds to give back to programs for the right reasons and not put the pressure on them to perform. It's those who have the money that's got to change first.
Man, this is one of them conversations we can have for the next 3 hours, I think. At the beauty salon, at the barbershop, at the gym.
Part 1.
Yeah.
Part 1.
Love that from all of you. Thank you so much for your thoughts here. And we hope that you enjoyed this, good people. It's a wrap on this episode. Can't retire from this. The fam, we out of here.
It's been another edition of Can't Retire from This. Another sideline story. Another great conversation. Thank y'all for kicking it with us.
Make sure to subscribe to the pod on whatever platform you prefer and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Can't Retire Project. Sideline Stories, a Can't Retire from This podcast, is produced and edited by Melanie Paige, Brittany Brown, and Misha Jones. Our hosts are Misha Jones, Melanie Paige, Jasmine Dallas, and Tanisha Benson, with special guest host Lindsay Allen. Thanks for listening.
All this time is still a fire in my eyes. I'ma keep shooting my shot 10,000 more times. Yeah, I move like life really is on the line. How could I let go of something this special? Every single day I see a sign, a reason not to stop, keep it pushing through the grind. Look how far I came, baby, I've been on the rise. After all this time, it's still a fire in my eyes. I'ma keep shooting my shot 10,000 more times. Yeah, I move like life really is on the line. How could I let go?